Shout out to Leonise Williamson for sending me this article. And I told myself I would try to not subject myself to doing another Larry Elder video, considering the last time I went in on him, I snapped. But I'm not going to even raise my blood pressure this time. Not that I did the last time either, going in on him, because I know how I can keep that under control. But there was a quote that Dr. Khalid Muhammad way back in the day said, when he said, "This is a sick Negro." And he does look sick for real in this picture. I mean, I don't know if he's about to throw up, have diarrhea, or pass a kidney stone. I've always said that to engage in coonism, it has to be very painful. Like, I don't know how they get through their day. I don't. I seriously don't get it. But anyway, if you have been subscribed to my live stream channel in the last week, you know that I had to go in on Herschel Walker and what he said about reparations, because he was brought in for HR 40. I don't even know why they had another one of those. It's pointless at this point. But they also had Larry Elder there. Now, I didn't talk about Larry Elder in the live stream because I really didn't feel like talking about it. But here this email comes my way, and here he is yet again. Now, this is the craziest part about the whole thing. Larry Elder and Herschel Walker are both Black American born citizens, meaning they have lineage that goes back to slavery that was here in America. The way that they talk, you would either think they were one or two people. One is the obvious PC, or two, Black people who are immigrants who are not native to this land. The way that they talk, you would swear that that's how it was, who they are, by the way that they say the things that they say. But we know they have handlers. But, you know, they have a very short shelf life. And, you know, it won't be long before they're taken down off of that shelf and discarded. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article that's coming from Atlanta Black Star. And I've already read like the first paragraph, and it is absolutely ridiculous what he said. But at the same time, not shocking or surprising, because it's Larry Elder. I'm going to read the title first. And the title is actually a quote from him. He said, "Only 20% of Black people are in poverty." Larry Elder slams the reparation bill and says the bigger issue is Black people not taking advantage of opportunities. You want to know what's so interesting? I just did a triple P a few days ago, where it was talking about how a lot of the palm colored people who went to that Capitol to riot or to invade on the January the 6th, most of them don't have a job or are lacking in finances. But he won't say anything about that, but he'll have all the smoke for Black people. Make it make sense. But that's who he is. That's who Larry Elder is. He is a Judas, like Herschel Walker and William O'Neill. And to be quite honest, Herschel Walker and Larry Elder can, you know, if they someday get the gumption to actually do so, maybe they can get the William O'Neill treatment. But something tells me they're too scared to go. They want to see this thing through to the end. But, you know, even that doesn't have a shelf life either. But let me go ahead and get into this article. Conservative radio host Larry Elder slammed reparation bill HR 40 during a Wednesday House subcommittee hearing on Wednesday, positioning that racism has never been a less significant problem in America, and indirectly suggesting that Black people need to do a better job of taking advantage of available opportunities. Well, the opportunities that are available to Black people are very scarce, Larry Elder, if you would open your eyes and actually see that. As a matter of fact, the opportunities for a vast majority of American people, regardless, are scarce. What world is he living in at this point in time? See, it all goes back to that whole, he wants to say it so bad that Black people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. He wants to say it so bad. It's amazing that terminology constantly gets thrusted on to and only to Black people, specifically Black Americans. They say that we're shiftless, we're lazy, we don't do this, we don't do that. But for some reason, they have no problem taking our money from, how you going to, money from shiftless people. How does that work? Why would you take money from people that you claim are lazy and this, that, and the third? How does that register? I'm not understanding it. As members of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties debated the merits of the bill H.R. 40 during a virtual hearing on February 17th, 68-year-old conservative radio host Larry Elder voiced strong opposition to the bill, which would establish a federal commission tasked with studying the impacts of slavery to bring redress to the economic, educational, and health disparities that divide the nation along racial lines. And see, that H.R. 40 is, again, a bill that they want to use to, quote unquote, make a study of black people. Notice that whenever the topic of reparation comes up for us, we always have to get studied like we're some kind of science project or a lab rat or some experiment. But when it comes to every other group, there is no experiment. There is no study. They just look at you one good time and say, oh, they look like they are. They probably are. Let's just throw them their money. And continue to throw money at them. But with us, we need to, conduct a study. Because how do we really know? How can we really tell? Let's see here. During his 5-minute time allocation, Elder reinforced ideas of overcoming adversity and seizing opportunity. Black people are a race of overcomers, Elder began. Despite all the problems that have been brought up in the committee hearing about racism, about slavery, about Jim Crow, black people have overcome to the point now where only 20% of black people are below the federally defined level of poverty. If we are so-called 13% of the population like they claim, Larry Elder, let's just go with that. Let's just say that we are. That would mean 20% of people below the poverty line is way too many people. That's pretty much every black person and then some. You doofus. Like, dude, does he really think about what he says before he actually says it? Now, I'm not saying that black people are 13% of the population, because I've never believed that we've only been 13%. They've been passing that lie around for decades, even before I was born. I believe we are higher than that. But let's just go with that. If we're 13% of the population and black people represent 20% of the poverty, that would mean that all of us are below the poverty line, right? And he said, racism, slavery, Jim Crow. We've overcome all of that. Apparently not racism. Racism is still very rampant in America. But he lives in a bubble. The bubble is in his head, which is probably why his head looks like a goddamn bucket right now. Just open with a bunch of air in it. And it's nothing holding it together. I can even compare it to a jar. At least a jar you can put a lid on a jar. But he doesn't think before he speaks. But then again, none of them do. He said black people have overcome to the point where now only 20% of black people are below the federally defined level of poverty. What he's also trying to say is that, because black people are allegedly 20% below, below the federally defined level of poverty, then they shouldn't need anything. But he'll make a case for those who are way above, such as PC, for them to get theirs. Or the Asian community or any other community, but because we're 20%. Let me continue. And all the other stuff that he said about Jim Crow, slavery, that's why we need it. Because of those situations right there. You idiot. Elder said that a 40-point drop in poverty in a 20-year period between 1940 and 1960 happened prior to the Brown versus Board decision in 1954 and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The United States was emerging from the Great Depression in 1940, and by the time the economic superpower, which led to a decades-long expansion in the middle class and general social mobility in the U.S. Let me be real here. The real reason why people like Larry Elder and Herschel Walker and all those other Judases and Judesses, and I'm talking about the women of the community, feel like this, is because they know if black people were to get reparations, they would lose their positioning with PC. And they'll try to run back to, nope, you will not. Larry Elder, Herschel Walker, all you others, we're going to call you others, you parasites, you nomads, you don't get a position over here. You keep yourself right planted over there. And if they decide to get rid of you, and they will, it's only a matter of time, then you're going to have to go live a sequestered life among the people off the grid or something like that. Because you can't come over here. You decided to leave a long time ago and you never came back. And it's funny, they claim to, do this to help black people. They're not helping us. They're not. They're making it worse. And the thing is, this is supposed to be a meeting that's supposed to lend light to getting reparations for black people. But they brought in Herschel Walker and Larry Elder, two people who are staunch oppositions to it. Like, what was the point? The bill, sponsored by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, who isn't even Black American herself, was first introduced by the late John Conyers in 1989 and had been reintroduced during every legislative session that followed, but has not been successful. The fact they've been doing this for 31 years. Going on 32, I should say. Well, 32, yeah, 32. And they weren't successful means they never planned on it being successful. They didn't want it. And I would like to know, who did they have on back then to speak? But I bet you every legislator that has come after it that did not benefit black people passed, and probably with flying colors the first time around. All of the bill's 162 co-sponsors are Democrats. We believe in determination, and we believe in overcoming the many bad balls that we have been thrown. We've caught them, and we've kept on going. That is not the point of H.R. 40, Jackson Lee said in her opening statement. Now more than ever, the facts and circumstances facing our nation demonstrate the importance of H.R. 40 and the necessity of placing our nation on a path to reparative justice. During the hearing, where College Football Hall of Famer Herschel Walker also expressed his disapproval of the bill, Elder said a 1997 survey of black and white teenagers showed that twice as many black teens as white teens said failure to take advantage of available opportunities is a bigger problem than racism. I need to see that stat. Just like Herschel Walker said that he talked to white teens and black teens and talking about racism wasn't a big deal. Notice how, while they're saying different things, it all goes back to this same lie. Because I'm telling you, they're lying through their teeth. He's saying that it was a 1997 survey that said that black and white teenagers show that twice as many black teens as white teens said failure to take advantage of available opportunities is a bigger problem than racism. Herschel Walker talking about racism isn't a big thing according to black and white teens. Notice both of them said black and white teens. Racism isn't a big problem. Larry Elder saying take advantage. Herschel Walker his was just plain flat out whatever it was, but it was like the same exact talking points. I want to know, did the people who write their term paper, their little script, was it the same person? Because they almost sounded identical, almost the exact same. Walker went on to say, having this conversation when racism has never been a less significant problem in America, to me, is mind-boggling. Seemingly taking aim at the economic legacy of slavery during America's earlier years, Elder minimized the financial impact of free slave labor, adding, the idea that slavery built America is believed by the fact that at one time Virginia was the most populous and wealthiest state in the Union, but within a couple of generations it had fallen behind states in the North because states in the South depended on slavery, which impoverished the South relative to the North, which is primarily why the North won the election. Listen to this. It's like hearing Charlie Brown's teacher. University of Connecticut professor of public policy Thomas Kramer, who has studied race and reparations for 15 years, pinned the cost of slavery and loss of wealth through slavery at $14.5 trillion. I think we can do better than that, but a starting point is a starting point. Dollars without the adjustment for inflation. Although $14.5 trillion is a lot of money, but we can do better. But like I said, everything has a launch pad. But this, I'm telling you, I'm over here sweating right now. Not because I'm hot reading this. I am heated. But because it's like this guy pisses me off to no end. And this guy has a legacy of saying stuff like this. And it's always against black people. This man has not one critique for PC, and he bet not have one either, because they know they'll cut him off. I swear, every time I see him and Herschel Walker, I keep thinking about the ending of Django. I'm talking about the part where Calvin Candy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, got shot, and you had Steven, played by Sam Jackson, literally crying tears, and then of course Django took care of him at the end. That's all I think about when I think of them. That's really what I think about. And I can't help but think that Larry Elder looks like a whole toad. I've always said he looked like some kind of amphibian being. I've always said that. But I'm not surprised or shocked that Larry Elder feels this way. He's always felt this way. He comes off as an elitist. Like, the black people that feels that they are better than the ones that, like us grassroots individuals. And he's always been that way. Even before I was born, I've always heard stories about Larry Elder and how much of a trash man he is. And Herschel Walker is no better. Those two are like conjoined at the hip, like some cooned out Siamese twins. And, their time will come. Their time will come indeed. And when it does, we will throw a parade. How that's going to happen, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't done so already, please text the number pinned down in the comments below so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video.